Today's the day for the 56 Chevy to take on the motor and the trans. We're gonna get these things bolted together and then slapped in the chassis.
Well, the last time that we worked on this thing, I think we had the video where we ran the engine. It ran good. Everything was okay with the engine. We did have a few minor things that we had to deal with. Off camera there, the last time I was running it, the distributor turned and locked in here against the intake, figured out that the gear on the bottom had gotten chowed up. It was a composite gear that was on this old MSD distributor that I had laying around. I got it from a guy, bought it used, and I don't think it was shimmed properly because the gear didn't have any play in it and it was tight, and I think it bound in there, and with it being the composite, I guess that was a good thing because it chowed that instead of ruining anything else and getting metal in the engine. But I did have to take the pan back off, make sure I got all the stuff out of it, and the oil pressure was a little high when we were running this engine. It was like at 60 when I was just sitting here keeping it running. I never really got it to idle good because those carbs are too big for this thing. But I went ahead and changed the spring out. It had a white spring in it. It was a high volume, high pressure pump that went with this pan. And I had a spring that was yellow that says it lowers it like 15 to 20 PSI. So I want to see real quick before we put this back in the frame. We're going to just run the priming tool in here, put a gauge back on here, and see what happens if the oil pressure dropped down some. And then we'll go ahead and stick this baby together finally. It's only hit an engine apart 15 times it seems like, because trying to do this on a budget, try not to take anything in a machine shop we can't afford, that we don't have time for. And basically this thing runs really, sounds really good and runs good for what it is. We did everything here in-house, honed it with the dingle ball hone, and put new rings on the pistons. I spent 8 hours cleaning the pistons. All the ring glands were all gummed up. And of course, you know, we went through the heads. We talked about that before, but we're ready. We want to put this thing in, finally be off the stand.
Well, after a couple weeks of getting things back in order, motor's in, trans is in, it's all painted, everything's good to go. So we're going to be working on getting the body in here. We got some patch panels to make for the lower part where the floor meets the firewall, where the new floor pan didn't reach up to. So got a few patch panels to make there, some wire wheeling to do on the firewall itself, and then we'll get the bottom and the firewall painted this metallic green, and then we'll set the body back on the car in a future episode.